Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. If you love guns, collect them, or just enjoy keeping tabs on what's happening in the firearms world, today's video is going to hit you right in the feels. We're jumping straight into something that's been blowing up lately in the community. The shocking plunge in resale prices for some of the most legendary and beloved guns ever made. Between 2024 and now in 2025, a bunch of models that used to be the crown jewels of gun safes or the absolute go-to for serious shooters have lost serious value overnight. Blame it on oversupply, changing trends, or all the new tech that's flooding the scene, but these drops are brutal and undeniable. Today we're breaking down 15 classic firearms that have taken a major beating in value based on real dealer feedback, trade-in numbers, and what people are actually paying on the used market right now. If you happen to own any of these, buckle up because the current figures might make your jaw drop. Let's jump right in. Kicking things off with the Browning Satori, that timeless over-under shotgun that clay busters and bird hunters have sworn by for decades thanks to its incredible fit, finish, rock-solid reliability, and classic looks. When it first came out back in the 1970s, a brand new one ran between $500 and $700, which translates to roughly $3,000 to $4,000 in today's money. And that price reflected the premium steel receiver and that buttery trigger everyone raves about. Heading into 2020, fresh Satoris were starting around $3,000, and the top-tier stuff like the 725 could easily top $5,000 or more. Fast forward to 2025, and things have changed big time. Brand new ones still sticker between $3,000 and $4,000. Yet on the used market, they're moving for only $1,000 to $1,500. That's a solid 30 to 40% haircut. What happened? Tough economic times have people thinking twice before dropping big money on luxury shotguns. Newer semi-autos with all the bells and whistles are grabbing attention. And frankly, there are just way too many Satoris floating around out there driving prices lower. The good news is the Satori still shoots like a dream. That break action is tough as nails with minimal parts to break. The balance is perfect for swinging on clays or upland game, and it'll handle anything from trap and skeet to chasing pheasants all day long. On the flip side, it can feel hefty for newer shooters or smaller frame folks on long hunts. And it simply doesn't have the adjustable stocks or recoil taming goodies you get on today's semis. Keeping it running is pretty straightforward, but you do have to stay on top of maintenance to keep the action crisp. Bottom line, in 2025, it's still an absolute joy to shoot, but if you were counting on it as an investment, the numbers aren't kind anymore. Way better to love it for how it performs than what it's worth. Next up is the Remington 870 Wingmaster, the pump-action shotgun that's been an absolute icon since the 1950s, adored by waterfowlers, upland hunters, and home defense folks alike for its bomb-proof toughness and the fact it'll eat any load you feed it, from light target shells to heavy slugs. When it originally launched, a new Wingmaster set you back just $100 to $150, roughly $1,000 to $1,500 adjusted to 2025 money. And that bought you a gorgeous blued steel receiver and one of the smoothest pump actions ever made. By 2020, fresh ones were going for $800 to $1,200, with clean used examples still pulling $500 to $600 pretty easily. Jump to 2025, and the picture looks a lot different. New Wingmasters are still $900 to $1,300, but used ones have crashed to $300 to $400. That's a full 40% fall. The used pump market is absolutely drowning in inventory. People are chasing semi-autos or do-it-all handguns with rails and modularity. Wallets are tighter than ever, and shops are slashing prices just to move old stock, dragging values down with them. Make no mistake, the 870 is still a beast, dead reliable, almost never jams, and perfect for everything from sitting in a duck blind to sitting by the nightstand. The downsides are real though. No modern adjustability, no quick swap barrels or collapsible stocks that the younger crowd expects, and the pump definitely feels slower when you need lightning fast follow-ups compared to a good semi. Cleaning is simple, but older guns can get rough if they've been neglected, and finding parts for the really vintage ones is getting tougher every year. In 2025, the Wingmaster is still a total workhorse you can trust your life with, but its resale is getting hammered by sexier, more adaptable competition in a world where every dollar counts. Now let's get into the Remington 7600, that slick pump-action rifle that hunters have leaned on hard since the 80s because of its pinpoint accuracy and lightning-quick handling in popular chamberings like 30-06, 308 Winchester, and 243. When it originally dropped, a factory-fresh 7,600 retailed around $350, roughly $900 adjusted to today's dollars, which was a steal for the quality and that silky pump stroke. Come 2025, and the used market has taken a serious beating. Clean 7,600s are trading hands for only $350 to $400, a massive slide from where they used to sit. There's a flood of these rifles out there, while buyers are snapping up modern semi-autos loaded with recoil-softening tech and fully adjustable furniture. And with money tight, dealers are dumping inventory at fire sale prices just to keep the lights on. On the bright side, the 7600 is still a hunter's best friend. Super reliable with almost nothing to break. Perfect for fast shots at running deer or pigs in thick cover. That said, the pump does feel old school next to semi-autos that spit rounds way faster, and there's basically zero modern customization. No quick change barrels, no Picatinny rails, nothing the current generation expects out of the box. Maintenance isn't complicated, but age shows on well-used examples and replacement parts for the classics are getting scarce. In 2025, the Remington 7600 is still a rock-solid woods rifle you can count on, but its value is hurting bad against all the high-tech, fully tricked-out rivals in a market that's watching every penny. For years, the Marlin 1895 has stood as a true icon for hunters chasing big game. Cherished for packing the thunderous .45-70 round with the effortless action and rapid second shots, unique to a classic lever-action setup. During its high point not long ago, especially prior to Ruger's takeover of Marlin, this rifle regularly pulled in over $1,200 on the resale scene, and special setups where those pre-Ruger editions often drew even bigger payouts from eager collectors. Heading into 2025, though, the average used 1895 is trading between $800 and $1,000, signaling about a 20 to 35% slide in overall worth. Part of the reason ties back to the handover in manufacturing under Ruger, when initial batches dealt with inconsistent quality checks that shook up trust among potential buyers. Meanwhile, the wider world of hunting gear has swung heavily toward semi-auto designs and today's tactical sporting rifles, which pack more rounds, quicker repeat fire, and easy out-of-the-box fits for scopes, cans, and extra gear. The resale pool is overflowing too, as folks offload their 1895s while the numbers stay decent enough, which only ramps up supply and cools off interest. That said, the 1895 keeps proving itself as a beast for taking down heavy hitters like grizzlies, moose, or whitetails deep in dense woods or undergrowth, where its snappy maneuvers and raw stopping power really dominate. It carries that rich slice of U.S. gun-making history too, drawing in folks who cherish old-school vibes just as much as top-notch shooting. Where it falls short is the longer tube-ups, smaller tube count, and chunkier rounds that make it tougher to adapt versus cutting-edge picks. Plus, its flip potential isn't what it used to be. If you're all in on lever rifles, this one's absolutely a keeper, but for anyone eyeing it mainly for turning a profit, those peak moments are long behind us. The Savage Axis has earned its stripes over time as a top budget-friendly bolt-action choice for folks hitting the woods or punching paper who need solid groups on the cheap, and it kept right on delivering with a basic, reliable build that built up a dedicated crowd. Right at its strongest, back when entry-level accurate rifles were harder to snag, a new Axis went for about $500, and solid used copies in nice shape often cleared $450 with little back and forth. But come 2025, the landscape has flipped as pre-owned units mostly pull in $300 to $400, a roughly 20 to 40% dip from those earlier highs. This isn't really about the gun falling short on the range, since it can still dial in under MOA precision with proper loads, but rather the cutthroat rivalry heating up in the low-cost long gun arena. Competitors from Ruger, Mossberg, and Tikka are rolling out smoother bolts, crisper brakes, comfier stock fits, and prepped threaded muzzles for suppressors or brakes, all hanging around the same shelf price as the Axis. By contrast, the Axis holds up as workable yet plain Jane, missing out on the tweaks and add-on paths that savvy shoppers now demand. Positively, though, its featherweight build, consistent shot placement, and easy-on-the-wallet tag keep it ideal for first-time field hands or as a backup blaster for pros. Negatively, the bare-bones layout, slim parts ecosystem, and flood of rivals at that tier leave it fighting to maintain worth with zero shot at building equity down the line. When you just want a trusty shooter to handle the basics without fuss, it's a smart grab. But if resale growth is your game plan, don't bank on the axes coming through. Alright, shifting gears to pistols now. The Ruger P95, rolled out toward the end of the 90s, quickly gathered a loyal squad thanks to its tough-as-nails frame, steady operation, and super accessible cost, sliding into duty belts for cops and bedside vaults for everyday protectors nationwide. Back at its best, particularly during those initial days when plastic frame autos were just breaking into everyday carry, a fresh P95 listed between $450 and $500, and well-kept used ones trailed right after its similar marks. Yet in 2025, those same handguns are shifting for only $250 to $350, showing a hefty 30 to 50% erosion in worth across the board. It's not that the P95 suddenly quit the game, as it's renowned for eating diverse loads without hiccups and shrugging off rough handling better than plenty of peers, but the whole pistol landscape has transformed overnight. Current shoppers hunt for stuff like swappable handles, light mounts, and built-in setups for optic plates, none of which the P95 brings to the table. Fresh contenders like the Glock 17 or Sig Sauer P320 deliver superior grips, smoother pulls, and a huge world of mods to tweak your setup endlessly, making the P95 come off as yesterday's news. Flipping it around, the P95 stays a tank of a piece with barely any upkeep needed for lifelong duty, and its bargain basement price today lures in thrifty types who want pure utility without the hype. The catch is its retro blueprint and zero paths for enhancements spell low odds for vintage appeal or staying sharp against fresh competition. To current holders, it's a bulletproof backup you can rely on. To flippers, it's a wake-up that even the sturdiest daily driver gets lapped when the field evolves. The Sig Sauer P250 burst onto the scene back in 2007 loaded with high hopes and a killer feature: total modularity that let owners exchange frames, slides, and even calibers to match their exact needs. In theory, it screamed ultimate adaptability, and the initial hype painted it as a game-changer that might let folks ditch the idea of owning a whole stable of handguns. When demand was hottest, a fresh P250 could easily top $550 or higher, pulling in buzz from everyday plinkers and police departments alike who were intrigued by what it might bring to the table. But the real world fell short of the buzz. That whole swap system turned out to be a bit of a maze for lots of users, particularly those just getting started. And even though the idea was fresh and clever, the parts didn't always click together as smoothly as advertised. Fast forward to 2025, and pre-owned P250s are mostly changing hands between $300 and $400, which works out to about a 30 to 45% dip from their top sticker prices. The game over moment came with the Sig Sauer P320, which basically refined and ramped up the same swap everything vibe with way better handling, a cleaner user experience, and a massive network of aftermarket goodies to boot. On top of that, the entire pistol game has leaned hard into guns with slide cuts for optics, sharper pulls, and sometimes even smart tech add-ons, stuff the P250 was never wired for. That being said, it holds up as a solidly crafted shooter with tight groups that can still hook gearheads who love messing around with setups. And at its current steal of a price, it's a sweet low-barrier way to dip your toes into the SIG family. The rough part? Being off the production line forever means scrounging for spares is a pain. Flip value is basically toast, and it's stuck in the shadows of sleeker, easier to run with alternatives. All told, the P250 kicked off some real talk about building pistols that morph on the fly, even if it didn't quite claim the throne SIG had in mind back then. Dropping in 2015, the Glock 43 hit the concealed carry crowd like a ton of bricks, fast-tracking to must-have status for anyone craving that signature Glock toughness wrapped in a super slim, pocket-friendly shell. During its sweet spot, Right after launch, when slim 9mm singles were flying off shelves, a new 43 would hover right around $500, and even gently handled used ones could snag $450 if they looked factory fresh. By 2025, though, the used ones are sliding along in the $350 to $400 zone, chalking up a 20 to 30% slide from those early glory days. It's not like the 43 flipped unreliable overnight, since it stays every bit as tough, on point, and fuss-free as when it first shipped, but the whole CCW scene has leveled up in a blink. Even Glock's own crew has lapped it, rolling out the 43X and 48 that squeeze in extra rounds without bulking up much, handing carriers more punch in basically the same hideaway footprint. Plus, rival makers have gone all in on upgrades like pre-cut slides for red dots, comfier palms, and tuned triggers, which makes the classic 43 start to feel a touch behind the curve. The silver lining? Its battle-tested rep, dead simple controls, and rock-steady output keep it as a go-to for close-quarters protection, ideal for purists who dig the keep-it-basic ethos. The weak spots show up in the single-stack limits and no-cut for optics setup, which sting hard in this era of zippy pocket pistols. If you're hooked on what makes it tick, it'll keep delivering without drama. But for keeping pace with the hottest trends in everyday carry, the memo's clear. Trading up might be on the horizon. If you're into wheel guns, the Heritage Rough Rider has always served as that perfect low-stakes intro, blending Old West flair with a sticker that hooked rookies and weekend warriors without breaking the bank. At its strongest, back when single-action cowboy matches had real steam, this rimfire six-shooter could pull $250 brand new, and barely touched used copies flipped just as quick near that mark. Fast forward to 2025, however, and the resale vibe has flipped hard, with clean examples mostly landing between $150 and $200 based on wear, equating to a solid 20 to 40% tumble from the highs. It's not tough to spot why. The cheap wheel gun corner is jammed full, and the whole old-timey shooting sports scene has dialed back versus 10 years prior. At the same time, the boom in budget-friendly, can't-miss semi-autos with bigger tubes, snap reloads, and all-around flexibility for carry or fun has siphoned eyes away from thumb-busters like the Rough Rider. Bright side, it's still a dirt-cheap, easy-kicking blaster that's a breeze to run, turning it into prime gear for schooling fresh faces or just banging cans on lazy afternoons. The guts are straightforward, ammo costs next to nothing in .22 long rifle, and that throwback charm hits different than any striker-fired slab. Where it drags is the drawn-out load-in dump routine, slim real-world defense chops, and fading pull from collectors, all adding up to slim chances of climbing back up or even staying put. Purely for grins and backyard vibes, it's a winner hands down. But if you're dreaming of it paying dividends later, the math just doesn't stack your way. The Smith & Wesson MNP Shield dropped way back in 2006 and wasted no time becoming one of the absolute kings of everyday carry, winning hearts with its rock-solid reliability, super easy handling, and a recoil impulse that even brand-new shooters could love. At its absolute peak, especially those first couple of years on the market, a brand-new Shield could push right up to $500, and clean used ones with barely any holster were still pulled $450 or better without much negotiation. Jump to 2025, and the picture has completely flipped. Most used Shields are trading between $300 and $350, with beat-up or older ones dipping as low as $280. That's a brutal 30 to 40% haircut off the top numbers. It's got nothing to do with the gun suddenly falling apart. It's still dead nuts dependable, accurate, and one of the easiest pistols to keep running, but the concealed carry world has sprinted forward. Monsters like the SIG P365 stuff weigh more rounds into the same tiny footprint, while the Glock 43X brings smoother grips, factory optic cuts, and rail space right out of the box. The original Shield never got the red dot ready slide or the higher capacity love, so now it feels behind the curve to a lot of buyers. Good news? Its track record is legendary. It shoots soft for its size, and the controls are pure simplicity, perfect for anyone who just wants a no-drama defender. Bad news? The used market is absolutely drowning in Shields, and with all the newer Micro 9s giving more feature for the same money, resale keeps sliding, which means it's a fantastic steal for new buyers, but a tough pill to swallow if you're trying to move one today. Now let's roll into the Ruger AR-556, the budget-friendly AR-15 that hit shelves in 2015 and instantly became the default pick for newbies, hunters, home defense setups, and weekend range warriors thanks to its tough-as-nails build and ability to chew through both 5.56 NATO and .223 Remington all day long. At its 2020 high-water mark, a new one was ringing up around $900, a fair chunk of change for a Ruger-backed workhorse. Come 2025, and the used market has taken a serious beating. Clean AR-550 SXS are moving between $500 to $600. That is solid 33 to 44% drop from the top. Why the crash? The entire AR world is absolutely flooded right now. Newer rifles are showing up with free-float handguards, optic-ready flats, lighter receivers, and better furniture straight from the factory. Tight wallets and tighter rules in some states have slowed demand. So the secondhand pile keeps growing and prices keep falling. The upside hasn't gone anywhere. It's still stupid simple to clean, built like a tank, and will run forever even if you treat it rough. Perfect for first-time black rifle owners or anyone who just needs a solid, affordable do-it-all gun for the safe. Downside is obvious. No fancy free-float rail. The front sight tower is fixed. The handguard is basic plastic, and swapping triggers or stocks isn't as plug-and-play as the newer stuff. It cleans easy, but hard use will eventually show wear. Bottom line in 2025, the Ruger AR-556 is still one of the best bang-for-buck rifles you can own, but in a sea of tricked-out alternatives, its resale has taken a serious hit. The Taurus Judge stormed in back in 2006 waving a wild card, a revolver that could swallow both .45 Colt Cowboy loads and .410 shot shells, giving owners the ability to flip between classic handgun rounds and mini shotgun blasts whenever they felt like it. That oddball versatility, plus a beefy frame and dead simple wheel gun operation, made it a hit for nightstand duty, hiking in snake country, or just turning money into noise at the range. When it was riding highest, a new Judge could sticker at $600 easy, and clean used ones still pulled $500 or more without breaking a sweat. Fast forward to 2025, and the story is rough. Used Judges are routinely going for $300 to $400, a painful 35 to 50% plunge. Here's the reality check. The .410 gimmick is fun, but pattern consistency is all over the place for serious defense. The .45 Colt hits hard, yet groups like a shotgun at distances the Judge is supposedly built for. And the whole package is big, heavy, and clunky next to today's featherweight semis. The market has sprinted towards small, high-capacity polymer wonders like the Glock 19 and SIG P320 that feel better, shoot faster, and customize easier. Used Judges are everywhere now, which only drags the price lower. On the bright side, it's still a mechanically simple, tough revolver that's a riot to shoot and stands out in any collection for sheer weird factor fun. On the dark side, real-world usefulness has taken a back seat, and resale keeps heading south in a world that prizes speed, capacity, and modularity. If you love it for the novelty and grins, it's still awesome. If you're banking on value holding, those days are long gone. Back in 1986, the Colt King Cobra rolled out and straight up claimed its throne in the annals of revolver lore as one of the all-time great .357 Magnum 6 guns, celebrated far and wide for the razor-sharp milling, dead-on precision, and ironclad build quality that let it shrug off decades of rough-and-tumble action without skipping a beat. That glassy, smooth, predictable trigger squeeze and bomb-proof cylinder lockup turned it into a go-to for hardcore wheel gunners, badge wearers on duty, and safe queens alike, locking in its dual role as a daily driver and a treasure for the display case. Hitting its stride, especially amid the wheel gun revival craze sweeping collectors through the 2010s, a mint-condition King Cobra could easily rake in $2,500 or beyond, and those elusive special editions or oddballs often climbed even steeper on the bidding wars. Fast forward to 2025, however, and the used market tells a tougher tale, with most examples swapping hands anywhere from $800 to $1,200, which spells out a whopping 50 to 65% nosedive from those glory highs. There's a bunch of play here. The whole revolver scene has exploded with sleeker, tech-loaded contenders packing smarter recoil damping, updated palm swells, and even slide-friendly optic mounts, perks the King Cobra was never engineered to chase. As tastes evolve toward pieces that mix vintage soul with today's tactical edge, this hefty, no-frills classic ends up scrapping it out in an overstocked resale arena where there's often more iron than takers. That said, it keeps cranking out competition-level groups, a break action that schools or edges out plenty of fresh off-the-line rivals, and a handmade level polish that factory churners today seldom touch. Where it stumbles is the zero give for today's gadget game, like rail space or suppressor threads. Plus, its tank-like heft makes it a mismatch next to the lightweight crowd pleasers now ruling the roost, so it mostly rides on legacy cred rather than everyday carry chops. The Springfield XDS made its big entrance in 2012 and carved a fast niche in the pocket pistol parade by blending bulletproof dependability, idiot-proof controls, and smart safeguards such as that signature thumb hug safety that layered on extra assurance without gumming up your draw. The snappy reset, tame kick for its size, and sleek lines hooked folks hunting a clean, tuckable blaster for close-range security. Right at its zenith, a factory-fresh XDS could demand about $600, and sharp-eyed used ones in top-shelf shape often cleared $500 or higher with ease. Yet by 2025, the resale game's shifted hard, as the bulk of pre-owned models are dealing in the $350 to $450 sweet spot, a clear 25 to 40% tumble from the summit. This isn't a knock on the gun's guts, it stays tough, true shooting, and a set-it-and-forget-it kind of reliable, but the concealed carry arena has rocketed ahead at warp speed. Heavy hitters like the Sig Sauer P365 and Glock 43X have rewritten the rules with stacked magazines, slimmer but grippier profiles, and pre-milled tops for dots. All catnip for modern carriers who want their rigs ready to remix and reload. The XDSS modest tube count and no factory optic cut now read as throwback traits to eyes spoiled by plug-and-play versatility. Positively speaking, its field-proven resume, tank-like assembly, and point-and-shoot flow keep it a powerhouse pick for minimalists who prize no BS toughness above the gadget parade. Negatively, the flooded used pool, teamed with a buyer base chasing flexibility and fresh bells, has the XDS seeding turf as the hot new drops steal the spotlight. For wallet watcher scouting value, it's a sharp, steadfast grab. For those unloading, the era of premium flips has wrapped up tight. Last but definitely not least, the legendary Beretta 92 FS. The full-size steel wonder that's been the sidearm of choice for militaries and police forces worldwide since the 80s, famous for laser-like accuracy, that silky double-action/single-action trigger, and a toughness that laughs at sand, mud, and decades of abuse. The grip fills the hand perfectly, the balance is spot on, and the soft shooting nature made it a gun that rookies and vets alike could run all day without punishment. When it was riding highest, a brand new 92 FS was knocking on $700, and a clean used one with Honest were still pulled $600 or better without blinking. Come 2025, though, the resale scene is a different animal. Most used 92 FS models are trading between $400 and $500, a solid 30 to 45% haircut from the glory days. This isn't because the gun suddenly forgot how to shoot straight. Its reliability and pinpoint groups are still elite, but the buying crowd has moved on. Today's shooters want lighter weight, smaller footprints, swappable back straps, higher capacity for the size, and factory-milled slides ready for a red dot. Stuff the Glock 19 and Sig P320 hand out like candy. The big, beautiful, all-metal Beretta with its exposed barrel and limited rail real estate just feels old school to a generation obsessed with modularity and speed. On the bright side, it's still an absolute joy to shoot, built to outlive us all, and remains one of the most naturally pointable duty pistols ever designed. On the flip side, the used market is absolutely flooded, and with the industry sprinting toward polymer Wonder 9s, the 92 FS has lost a lot of its former swagger. If you love the history, the feel, and that classic Italian craftsmanship. It's still a fantastic safe queen or range companion. If you're chasing resale upside or the latest hotness, the Beretta 92 FS just isn't the automatic pick anymore. So there you have it, guys, the big takeaway after running through all 15 of these once untouchable classics. The gun market is moving at warp speed right now. Massive oversupply, new tech dropping every month, and buyer tastes shifting harder than ever are slamming even the most legendary models. Whether it's too many guns hitting the used racks, red dot ready slides, and adjustable everything becoming the new normal, or tighter rules in certain states, and adjustable everything becoming the new normal, or tighter rules in certain states cooling demand, the reality is clear. Values can flip fast. If you're sitting on one of these 15, you've basically got two paths. Keep it because you love it and it's part of your story, or think about moving it sooner than later before the slide gets even steeper. Staying ahead of the curve is more important than ever in this game. That's a wrap for today. Drop a comment and tell me which one of these price drops shocked you the hardest. Smash that like button if you found this useful, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the next deep dive. Stay armed, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.